Up to 50 million Americans suffer from acne. Approximately 85% of 12 to 24-year-olds experience at least minor acne. And the number of adults with acne is increasing, affecting up to 15% of women. That's according to the American Academy of Dermatology. So what exactly causes it and what can you do about it? Let's ask the expert. Joining me now is Dermatologist Dr. Pehoushek from All Dermatology. All right, out of the gate, what exactly causes acne?
So acne is, for the most part, hormonally driven. So people come in all the time and say, I think I have a hormonal acne. And I'm like, yes, you're absolutely right, because pretty much that's what causes it. And like you said at the beginning of the story, mostly we see it in adolescents once they hit puberty.
Right.
And there's a big wave through that point. That's because the androgens, or testosterone, think of like hormones, which both men and women have, really start surging then.
Right.
And then as time goes on, a lot of people plateau out of that. And then eventually, in adulthood, hormones start happening again. And women tend to have more hormonal activity than men.
Yes.
And so women tend to be the ones that really have a problem with hormonal, or with acne as they get older.
Right. So this was what's interesting to me, is that you say that contrary to popular belief, not cleaning well and food and diet actually don't really cause acne?
Right. I think there's a lot of misinformation out there. Like the one thing parents always come in with their kids and say, tell them I get to wash their face more.
Right.
And I'm
Or
always,
stop eating the burgers and
yeah,
greasy
and
fries.
greasy food
and,
or
all that
chocolates.
stuff. Yeah,
Always,
yeah.
Poor kids.
Yeah.
There is some evidence that high glycemic diets, so diets high in sugary foods,
Yes.
but you also have to think of foods that get broken down to sugars, like bread and grains and things
Right.
that turn into sugars into your body, can increase your risk for acne over time.
Oh.
So, but a lot of the stuff that people are avoiding like the plague, I tell them, look, just eat a normal diet. And people think, well, the kids that work at the fast food restaurants, I'm like, yeah, but they're all teenagers. Of course they're going to have acne.
Yeah, because
not
it's the
because they work
hormones.
there.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, so that's natural. All right, let's go over the don'ts, because there's a lot here to talk about. But the one things that I wanted to highlight, besides the overwashing and scrub, you say actually too much facials, that can actually have an effect?
I try to get people not to be too mean. I always think of it as don't kick an angry dog. Your face is already broken out, it's inflamed, that's part of the problem. Your skin's inflamed.
Okay.
So if you have a lot more trauma to it, in other words, you're having facials or extractions all the time, it's just making it worse. And then people worry about scarring, and those are the kind of things that actually make scarring worse sometimes.
I know. Okay, so you also talk about irritants. Like what kind?
Right, so a lot of people use products. Some of them are good for you, like benzoyl peroxide or tretinoin, retinoids. Those can help. But the problem is sometimes people use things like rubbing alcohol or peroxide or really astringent, irritating chemicals because they think if I can just wash my face enough, it'll all go away.
Right.
And it just doesn't help.
Okay. All right. You also say don't waste money on unproven or, same products. What do you mean by that?
So there's a lot of gimmicky things out there, zit zappers and things. There's extracting devices.
Yeah.
There are, the red light masks, which I think have some benefit.
Oh.
But I always think of, try to stick to the tried and true things. So we know that the over-the-counter benzoyl peroxide, salicylic acid, adapalene, which is in Differin, we know those help.
Right,
And so it's easier to do that than spend a lot of money on things that we just aren't sure they do anything or that they work at all.
Okay. Yeah, because there is a lot, and they can
lot.
really, really add up. So you're just throwing money down the table.
And like you said, there's like about 10% of the population of the world has acne,
Right.
and they're anticipating it being up to a $16 billion industry by 2023, that's a lot of money people are spending on acne.
Yeah, and when you don't know if it's really going to work.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.